Imagine waking up one morning to a headline so shocking that it sends a wave of electricity through the global financial community, a headline revealing that the clues everyone had been ignoring were actually pointing toward a monumental shift in Iraq's economic landscape, a shift that could redefine the value of the IQD and the future of millions watching these updates every single day. And if you're hearing this right now, make sure you hit that like button and stay with me till the end. Because what I'm about to break down is not just another rumor, but a deep dive into the signals, patterns, and reform indicators that are finally lining up in a way we haven't seen in years, giving analysts, investors, and even Iraqi citizens a renewed sense of anticipation. When we talk about the IQD revaluation timeline, most people either jump to extreme optimism or dismiss the idea altogether. But the truth lies somewhere in the middle, and that truth is supported not by hype, but by real-world reforms, fiscal restructuring, and strategic decisions made by the Central Bank of Iraq that point toward a clear direction for 2025. Over the past months, Iraq has been pushing through some of the most aggressive economic reforms since the post-war rebuilding era, and each move, whether it's tightening monetary policy, updating banking systems, or digitizing national payment infrastructure, is part of a larger pattern that suggests strategic preparation rather than random adjustments. The CBI has repeatedly emphasized stability, anti-corruption measures, and integration with global systems like SWIFT and ISO standards, and these upgrades are not just bureaucratic exercises, they are prerequisites for any major currency revision. At the same time, oil production expansion, regional partnerships, and internal political stabilization have created an environment where the CBI finally has room to maneuver without external pressure dragging the currency down. Analysts around the world have been mapping these developments, connecting the dots between Iraq's budget surpluses, rising foreign reserves, and international debt management improvements, and when you overlay this data onto historical currency reform patterns, a compelling picture begins to form. The clues lining up are not accidental. They are strategic, synchronized, and intentional. And if you've been following IQD news for long enough, you know Iraq rarely moves this boldly unless something bigger is being prepared behind the scenes. While no responsible expert will give a date, the timeline indicators strongly suggest that 2025 is shaping up to be one of the most pivotal years for Iraq's financial identity. And as these clues keep aligning as reforms accelerate and as the CBI continues its push toward modernization, the possibility of a value adjustment becomes more than just speculation. It becomes a logical, economically supported outcome. Stay right here, because in the next paragraph, we're going even deeper into the real mechanics that determine whether an RV is feasible and how these reforms may be the missing puzzle pieces everyone has been waiting for. Now, let's dig into the mechanics behind the revaluation timeline and explore what the Central Bank of Iraq is actually doing under the surface, because once you understand how currency reform works at a structural level, you start to see why 2025 is being highlighted more frequently by economists who normally avoid bold predictions. And if you're still watching, make sure you comment below with IQD 2025, so I know you're following this breakdown closely. The truth is that a revaluation doesn't happen because of hope or speculation. It happens because the internal framework of a country is prepared to support a new value, and Iraq has been systematically building that framework brick by brick. The shift toward digital banking has been one of the strongest indicators, with the CBI pushing more aggressive reforms for electronic payment systems, modern card services, tax compliance tracking, and anti-money laundering systems, all of which are required for international currency integration. At the same time, Iraq's foreign reserves have surged beyond levels many analysts expected, creating a cushion that allows the CBI to back a stronger currency when the time comes. These reserves act as insurance in the global market, demonstrating that Iraq can support a higher rate without risking collapse or hyperinflation. Another major factor is the reduction of dependency on the USD, something Iraq has struggled with for decades. But the CBI's new measures to regulate dollar outflow, enforce transparent trade documentation, and tighten currency auctions are showing significant results. This shift away from USD reliance is one of the clearest signals that Iraq is positioning itself to strengthen the IQD. Additionally, Iraq's partnerships with international banks and financial regulators have expanded rapidly, enabling cross-border transfers, reducing black market discrepancies, and reinforcing market confidence. With major oil investments from countries like China, Turkey, and Gulf nations, Iraq's revenue channels are diversifying, meaning the IQD is no longer dependent on a single sector risk profile. The momentum in public infrastructure spending, energy sector modernization, and reconstruction projects is also boosting fiscal stability, giving Iraq the foundational economic strength necessary for long-term currency reform. When you look at how these reforms align, digital upgrades, reserve growth, dollar control, international compliance, and diversified economic inflow, the pattern becomes undeniable. These are not isolated improvements. They are the exact sequence that precedes a currency adjustment in every modern example, from Kuwait to South Korea. The 2025 timeline gains further credibility when you consider Iraq's strategic window of opportunity. Political calm, regional cooperation, and budget expansion all converging at once. And while no one can give a date, the direction is clear. Iraq is preparing for something bigger than routine adjustments, and that something could fundamentally reshape the future value of the dinar. But don't go anywhere, because the final paragraph will tie all these clues together and reveal what viewers should realistically expect from RV News going forward. As we bring everything together, let's talk about what these clues truly mean for the future of the Iraqi dinar and what you, as someone following RV News, should realistically expect moving into 2025. And if you're still with me right now, you're exactly the kind of viewer who wants real information rather than hype, so hit subscribe because this channel brings you real data, not fantasies. The alignment of clues isn't an accident. It's the result of Iraq entering a phase of coordinated reforms and unprecedented financial stabilization. When a country moves toward revaluation-level activity, it begins preparing institutional, regulatory, and economic mechanisms to support a stronger currency, and that's exactly what Iraq is doing. The CBI's aggressive push for compliance with global standards signals a clear goal: integrate with international financial systems and restore confidence in the IQD. The government's commitment to tightening border controls, eliminating smuggling pipelines, enhancing tax authority, and digitizing the private sector all show a shift toward transparency and accountability, two elements required before any major currency adjustment. Meanwhile, Iraq's foreign investor confidence is steadily rising as megaprojects in energy, transportation, housing, and digital infrastructure roll out nationwide. These investments are not just about growth, they're about long-term economic maturity, the kind that supports a stable and potentially stronger national currency. The clues also reveal that Iraq is positioning itself as a regional economic hub, using oil revenue strategically while expanding into non-oil sectors like renewable energy, tourism, logistics, and agriculture. When a country diversifies in this manner, its currency gains resilience and value in the eyes of global markets. Another major clue is the strengthening of parliamentary cooperation with the central bank, reducing political friction, and creating a unified approach to financial reform, something Iraq has lacked for years. With reduced internal conflict, economic decisions become smoother, policies hold longer, and reforms progress without interruption. When you align all these pieces, reserve growth, digitization, USD reduction, foreign investment, policy stability, public sector restructuring, and global compliance, you're left with a picture that strongly supports the possibility of a major shift in the IQD's value in the coming year. But remember, revaluation doesn't mean overnight magic. It means strategic, calculated adjustment backed by real economic strength. And if trends continue, 2025 could be the most significant year the IQD market has seen in over a decade. This is why staying informed is